What's going on, everybody? We got another Midwest Swing podcast and simulcast coming at you on a Thursday. Thursday evening. I got to think about what day it is. But Twins played this afternoon, getaway day for the Seattle Mariners, and obviously a very good game for the Twins. And for Jose Barrios, 6-2 win. And good offensive day again for Ed the Stick, Eddie Rosario, who has been just a man ablaze of late, I believe. 18 for his last 31. Multi-hit games for Escobar, for Sano, for Chris Jimenez, personal favorite of the show. And again, reminder that we did have a video podcast with him on the YouTube channel Cold Omaha to check out. Please do that. And for all the talk about how poorly Chris Jimenez was playing, his slash line is now up to 230 with a 374 on base percentage and a 405 slugging percentage. A 2 home run day will do that for you. And so 4 runs batted in, which is, again, a very, very good day for your backup catcher. He's doing a good job handling the pitching staff and just overall, I think, doing a decent enough job to basically prove that he belongs on the team to justify his existence. I do have to say that I am encouraged by the fact that Mitch Garver has played some outfield down in Rochester. Probably could get in some games at first base as well. So I think that if they wanted to get Garver up here, it wouldn't necessarily mean that Jason Castro got hurt or Chris Jimenez got fired into the sun, so to speak. So I do hope that eventually there's a chance that they can get Garver up here because he's obviously having a very nice season at Rochester. As a general reminder, if you're watching the chat, feel free to send tweets to me at Brandon_Warren. I'm going to be able to see them much better than I am on the Periscope interface. So again, please send them to me at Brandon_Warren on Twitter. If you say things in the chat room, chances are I'll see them, chances are I'll forget them. So again, tweet them to me and we will go from there. I do see Andrew, though, asking, will Jose Barrios have an innings limit? And I think, I'd have to think about how many innings he threw last year. I don't know if it was 120 or 130. I would guess they would probably let him go to 160, 170, 180. I don't know. I don't think they're really worried about innings as much this year as a matter of principle. But I don't know. I don't think they'd probably let him go too much over 170 or 180 if it came to that, which is fine. Unless they're in postseason contention, at which point they would probably manage it with some days off and that sort of thing. So I don't really have a problem with the idea that if they did want to limit them, they could. Since we do have the ability to, though, I can pull up what he did last year innings-wise and see if we can cobble it together. Because there are, I think it's like the Verducci effect where you have too many innings in the span of 1 year of a jump. Too big of a jump from 1 year to the next. And he threw just about 170 innings last year, so I don't think there will be any kind of innings limit on him. Is he going to give him 200 innings? No way. And he's already up to, it looks like, almost 80 for the season. So I think he's probably going to have a pretty good chance to hang in there as far as pitch innings and all that. Somebody just asked, what is Irvin Santana's value? # not an ace. Yeah, that's been a fun battle to wage on Twitter, let me tell you. And honestly, if I were to put up the for sale sign on Irvin Santana, and I was thinking about this today while I was at Target, I'd probably want to start the negotiations at 2 top 100 prospects. Again, I know that's probably more than you can expect to get, but you do probably have to get a top 100 prospect and then an intriguing secondary piece that you really like that you think you can maybe turn into something else as far as future, I do think, though, that the way that these guys are prepared to go into this trade deadline season, and this is what I was thinking about when I was talking about being at Target today, was I don't think these guys are going to be worried about making popular or unpopular decisions. They've been brought in here to turn this franchise around and win. Not just win today, but win as much as possible over the next 5 to 7 years. So I do think that they understand that if they are in the thick of things but get a great offer for Irvin Santana, they'll move him. If they can get something for Hector Santiago, they will. If they can get something for Brandon Kinsler, they will. I don't think they're worried about making a popular or unpopular decision or doing something that benefits PR as opposed to the actual on-field product. Because like I've said a number of times, you have to worry about the butts that are in the seats, not the faces. The faces can change, but if you chase away, let's just say 5,000 fans per game when you trade Irvin Santana, if you start winning, those fans will not care that it's not with Irvin Santana. They will be back whenever you start winning again. And so I think these guys get that. I get the sense that they are not attached to Irvin Santana. They are not attached clearly to Brian Dozier after we saw how the whole offseason went, in that they kind of let him whip in the wind for the entire offseason and then kind of had to play nice in spring training, make him feel welcome again. Which is difficult. I mean, obviously he's your best he's not your best offensive player, but he's coming off the best season, I guess I would put it that way. But if people don't meet your price, you just roll with it. And I don't think that's a bad strategy at all, because Dozier's contract and Santana's contract, with the way they're set up right now, there's no risk of that blowing up on you because they're such financially reasonable deals. If Irvin Santana's elbow blows up, heaven forbid, knock on wood, the Twins have one more year of paying him, 13 point whatever million. Big deal. They don't exercise the option and they're out. And you can lament the fact that they didn't trade him when they had the chance, but at the same time, at least you weren't in a 7-year deal with a guy like David Price or Justin Verlander, where it's an albatross for 5 years after the fact. Same deal with Dozier. If he, suddenly couldn't play baseball anymore for whatever reason, the Twins would be okay. So I don't think you have to get into the spot where you trade them, you don't trade them based on what the rest of the league is doing. And so to that end, I think that's advantageous. And I do, like I've said before, still think Irvin Santana's contract is set up to a point where the Twins can extort fairly good value based on an entire year of control and then an additional year beyond that should he continue to pitch at a relatively high level, which, we always say Father Time is undefeated, but there are ageless pitchers who do pitch well into their mid-30s. And there may be a team that sees something analytically about Santana or something about his body type or his delivery that will allow him to stay healthy maybe longer than he otherwise would have. I don't know enough about pitchers, and maybe we as an industry don't know enough about pitchers, but it's just kind of a risk versus reward thing where he's been healthy to this point and somebody will take that plunge. It's going to be a weird season for rentals as far as, where Yu Darvish ends up or if Jason Vargas gets moved. There's a few others out there. Johnny Cueto might get moved if the Giants continue to be absolutely horrible. I don't think they would move Jeff Samardzija, but the Giants are kind of in flux in that the rest of that rotation kind of stinks. I mean, Matt Moore has not been as good as they expected. Matt Cain is obviously a shell around his former self, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. They, without Bumgarner, they're obviously a very flawed team. All right, let's go to the Twitter questions. Ben Intel says, is Jorge Polanco at risk of losing playing time? In the short term, I think the answer to that is yes, just because he hasn't been hitting for about 6 weeks now, and Eduardo Escobar is hitting just so well that you do have to find room for him every day. Escobar's slash line after a 3-hit day is up to 295, 338, 485. Hit second in today's game. I don't know that I would hit him second. I might hit him, a little further down, hit Robbie Grossman second. But I don't have any real qualms with where he hits in the order. I mean, he's obviously red hot, and you want to get him a lot of at-bats right now. So, we'll see what comes of that. Ryan Sawyer wants to know what the at-bats difference is for Polanco versus Escobar. Well, I can give you based on what it was before today. I don't have today's stats in front of me, but Eduardo Escobar had 138 and Polanco had 204. So you're looking at about a 60 plate appearance difference. Again, most of Polanco's value has come on defense because his bat has slumped so badly. And I still believe in Polanco, don't get me wrong. He's not striking out, although it's bumped up a little bit. And, he's walking some, but not a ton. I don't have a problem with Polanco losing some playing time to Escobar as long as, you ride the hot hand, so to speak. So I think that's certainly in the mix, for sure. Brandon Perman wants to know why we run these so late at night. It's pretty simple. I try to not do them when I'm on the clock working. When my shift at Sport Radar ends at 11, and it doesn't look good if I double dip on doing this while I should be doing something else. So I work nights. I have a baby that's upstairs sleeping and a wife as well. So it works best for me to do these at night. I'll try to do some during the day too, just so we can keep more people involved. I really do appreciate, though, everybody that checks these out because they are a lot of fun to do, which is, I appreciate you guys even asking me questions. And again, Brandon, I see you saying fair enough, just curious. Yeah, no, I really do appreciate people checking these out because honestly, when I do them, I'm not sure why anybody would be interested in watching me do this, but, it's kind of cool. I just like that anybody even watches it at all. As you might know, I put them up on YouTube as well if you want to watch them back again. So Cold Omaha on YouTube. Thank you, Jeremy Johnson, for calling me the man. No, I will not be at Golf with the Gift. I have too much going on. I really am bummed out about that. I can't emphasize enough how difficult the whole Rod Salmon situation has been for me this spring. And I hope his family, Annie and Pam, doing well as they move on and kind of pick up the pieces of their life. I did write an article about that for Zone Coverage earlier in the spring. As you all know, my mentor passed away at spring training, Rod Simon. So thanks for checking it out, Jeremy. I really appreciate it. Hope you're well and hope everything's going good with your family. Colin Nelson says, have the Twins looked at Joe Nathan or Neftali Feliz? I don't think there's any reason to look at Joe Nathan. I think he's cooked. As far as Feliz, I don't know. If you look at the numbers, Neftali Feliz last year was a lot like Michael Tonkin, except for the batting average on balls in play. Depending on how you view batting average on balls in play and how much influence a pitcher has on it, you can still kind of see some similarities here. Lots of strikeouts, lots of walks. I don't think either are particularly adept at ground balls, throw very hard. So I think if you throw hard, your batting average on balls in play could probably spike as well a little bit, just based on speed in, speed out, and all that stuff. So I'd have to look at exit velocity and really break them down specifically. But I don't think anything short of a rebuilding Neftali Feliz from the ground up on a minor league deal might be something I would look at, but other than that, I just don't think so. I did see someone ask, I'll get back to the rest of your question in a second, Colin. I did see someone ask what Michael Tonkin is up to. I know he's been working, I think, 8th innings for the Rochester Red Wings. As you might expect, he's been so-so. 3.75 ERA. More than a strikeout per inning, lots of walks. Really not great. I suspect he'll walk as a minor league free agent at the end of the season, and hopefully, find a better fit, because obviously it's just not happening here again, I don't think. And Tonk's a good guy, but we'll see. Anyway, the rest of Colin Nelson's question is he'd love to see the Twins get Archer. I don't see that happening. It doesn't make sense for the Twins to trade for Chris Archer because, honestly, I don't think the Twins are better than the Rays right now, to be honest with you. Everyone asks why I'm not negative about the Twins or why I don't rip them. I think this team is fine, but I don't think that they need to worry about lining up their rotation to get to the postseason or anything. If you get there, you get there, and you ride your horses to get there. You ride what you have. But I'm not looking at a team to. I'm not looking at trying to maximize the 2017 potential to win the World Series at the expense of prospects that it would cost. And I just don't think the Twins have what the Rays would want, unless the Rays are thinking they want Romero, Gonsalves, and Gordon. And even then, you probably still have to add more, which just does not make any sense to me. So Not interested in Chris Archer at that price, and it just doesn't make sense. Joe says, why rip the Twins just to rip them? They lost 100 games last year. I spent the whole 2015 season telling people that the Twins were not good and they won 83 games. Nobody listened to me then. They didn't believe me. They thought, oh, this team's good. They're on the upswing. And I was like, well, they're really not that good. And then they brought back the same team and lost 100 games the next year. So, I don't know. I thought this was an 80-win team this year. Right now they look maybe closer to 85, 88. We'll see what happens. And I agree with Ryan Sawyer. I think this year's team is a lot more talented than last year in that, not talent from a physical talent standpoint, but they closed in some of the gaps as far as defense, as far as catching defense, especially. If you look at where their catchers were last year to where they are now, night and day, and that's huge. That's very, very big, and I think the pitchers will tell you that. I think the coaching staff will tell you that. So, obviously, very important to clean up what you have in-house before you make any moves outside. And to that end, the offseason this year will be pretty interesting because there will be, obviously, Yu Darvish, a free agent if he opts out. It's Tanaka who can opt out. Darvish is a free agent. So obviously, Thad Levine's going to have the familiarity factor. Again, it sounds hilarious to even talk about the Twins in the same conversation as signing a big-time pitcher. But I'm just saying, if they were to ever do it in the near future, Darvish makes sense just because who knows him better than Levine. But, no, like I've said, I'd rather sign Lance Lynn, who's going to be 30 until, see, Joe's got that on the chat too. Lance Lynn, who will be 31 early next year, if you can get him on a 5-year deal with, I said the Rick Porcello deal, I think I'd give Lance Lynn that for sure. Jaron Duffy wants to know when Gonsalves is headed to AAA. I would have to say pretty soon, but I'm not the one making that call. That's going to be a Sean Johnson thing or a Mike Radcliffe thing, but I think he's getting awfully close because, or a Brad Stile thing, because I don't know. I just think that I know he's only about 35 innings at AA this year, but he was strong in AA to end last season. You get the feeling that he's in a groove and ready to tackle the next level. So I think, maybe another start or two, but it wouldn't be surprising to me if he went up to the home, AAA soon. Sorry, I got a little confused with the next question, which is Miguel Sano going to be in the home run derby this year? I hope so. I desperately hope so because I think that he would make it a lot of fun. Miguel Sano and Aaron Judge would be fun. Joey Gallo would be fun. I don't know how they do it as far as half and half AL and NL, but those would be three guys pretty high on my list. Giancarlo Stanton, of course, from the National League side of things, especially at his home field. Eric Thames is another good pick by Joe there. So, I hope he is, but I think there's a fairly decent chance. I don't know. Matt Liefeld wants to know what it's going to take for the Twins to right the ship at home. Honestly, I think it's just it's dumb luck. I don't think there's anything to the fact that they're playing better on the road at all. Not one bit. And I actually talked to Chris Jimenez. I don't think that they feel it's really much of anything either. Offensively, actually, I think their offensive weighted runs created plus is actually better at home, which means it's either sequencing or their pitching is a little worse at home. But honestly, I don't think home road splits are that big of a difference in this early in the season. I don't think this is a road warrior kind of team. That's why I think they do need to play better at home because they can't keep it up all season long. So we'll see what happens. Schmick wants to know if there's any chance Torrey Hunter gets his Twins number 48 retired. I think that's a really valid point or a valid question. I would say he probably comes up a little short for playing time. Let's see, he came up in 97, was a full-time player for the first time in 99, left in 07, came back in 15, if I'm remembering all this correctly. And so that would be, what, he spent 10 parts of 9-10 seasons in terms of full seasons. Oh. Yeah, Mauer's going to get number 7. Yeah. I think Hunter is on the border, and I think he just gets nudged in because of the transcendent personality as far as how they view him in the clubhouse. So I'm officially on the yes side for Torrey, but if somebody said no, I would totally understand it. It wouldn't bother me one bit. Colin Nelson asking me about Justin Morneau. Gardenhire said that he is in great shape and could help a team this year. I don't know if I really buy that because obviously he didn't really do that much for the White Sox last year. But I don't know. Who needs a DH right now? That's the other thing. So I don't really think so. Louis Schuth wants to know if injuries are up in general or if it's just your fantasy team. It's a 10-day DL, man. Teams are using it very judiciously, and they are not only using it judiciously, but some teams I think are maybe a little bit unethical about it. I don't think the Twins have been unethical about it. I think they've been doing a fine job. But there are some, hair-raising questions as far as, it's that one start skipped thing, Ryan Sawyer says. Yep. So for some guys, it makes sense. I don't know. Last question I'm going to take tonight because we're running out of time. Brandon Perman says, have I heard any rumblings on Molitor this past year as far as sticking around afterwards? Not so much wins and losses. What does it depend on? I don't know. My working theory is this. When you hire guys from two different organizations, in the Indians and the Rangers, they both probably have lists of guys they would like to have manage. And I've listed these names before. Sandy Alomar Jr., who I personally like a lot. Ron Washington, if he wants to get back into the managerial side of things. Maybe, and again, that's just connecting the dots. That's not me reporting anything. That's just guys who have that kind of experience, whatever. Good. Yeah. What about Pickler? That's what Grant Spears says. Jeff Pickler is brilliant, and so if they wanted him to manage, I would be all on board with that. My personal opinion, I'd want Gabe Kapler because I think Gabe Kapler's the freaking man. But that's just me. But yeah, there would be some options, and Pickler is the guy that they obviously hired because they like him. So I would give Pick a shot as well. But with Molitor being a lame duck, I don't know. I just don't feel like he's got the greatest of odds. But I do think he's been more open to changes this year that he might not have done last year. But I felt like there were stretches where we could say that about Gardenhire as well. So, I still feel about 50-50, which feels like such a cop-out. I don't know. If I had to be on one side or the other of 50-50, it'd be like 45% he comes back, 55% he goes. But I'm not trying to get anybody kicked out of their job. I'm just here to report. I'm not trying to rock the boat or anything. But I think he does a decent enough job. There are times where he does things I don't like, and I say it on Twitter, and then people tell me I'm too positive. Like on Reddit, when I raked a guy today for it, and or I dragged him, not raked him, and then he deleted his account. So always nice to meet a fan, right? Anyway, speaking of fans, thank you for checking out the Midwest Swing podcast and simulcast. It actually wasn't Percy. In fact, I think it was somebody named Nick. But hey, it's all good. His name is Fire Gardenhire on there, so he's already living in the past. Anyway, guys, thanks for checking us out. Maybe we'll do another one here tomorrow. You guys are great. Appreciate it so much. Peace.